I'm moving Abby's picture. No, don't fall.
I'm telling her you did that. Abby, Paul's moving your picture. He's trying to replace you.
That is not true. I don't know how you put up with him anyway.
Okay. Welcome to Paul N Saul.
That's how we're going to start it.
Absolutely.
I don't even have my mic card. Hold on.
I'm Saul.
I'm Paul.
And we are here to bring you
starting.
the best and most excellent local news.
Yeah, we got some good stuff today.
We have some beef in this this show today. But first of all, I want to thank everybody that is sponsoring us through their donations to support Mid-Bay News. We need your donations and your support. If you want to help us keep the local news here in the area, midbaynews.com/donate is the place to go. We'd love to have you on board, and we're working on things that, like goodies and stuff and special exclusive stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to send me a hat,
Also the hat.
I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Today is Bayou Pub, which is located on Parton Drive, right behind PB&J Cafe. Go check them out.
First story today is kind of a dark story. But there's a lot of legalese and stuff surrounding it. But essentially, last month, Anthony Green, Chief Master Sergeant Anthony Green over at Hurlburt Field was fired from his job over there, and there wasn't a lot of clarity as to why until last week when I got a document from the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. It's called a Fibers Report. And so to be clear, no one's been arrested.
That's right.
No one's been charged with a crime. All we have is this report that
Alleges
that Green participated in video voyeurism of a minor. The report was heavily redacted when I got it and doesn't give me a whole lot of information.
But it does say it's in a sexual
But it does say it's in a sexual manner, and it is, the address is his, the description is his.
Sure.
And so that's why we're going with it and running with it. But essentially what it tells us is that there's something going on there, and that the report eventually closed the Sheriff's Office investigation and turned it over to what's called the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Those are the NCIS of the Air Force. They are investigating, and they could come to a court-martial. The whole story that we're going to have up by the time that you guys see this on Wednesday is going to explain the court-martial process, how all that works, what it means. But I want to be clear on this show that no one's been charged with a crime. No one's been arrested. We have information that became an allegation that has gone to the Office of Special Investigations of the Air Force. Right. They're looking into it, but it explains why he was relieved, why this report is out there.
Sure, and I think it still stands to reason, you sort of explained it as like the NCIS for the Air Force, but like it's basically a federal charge potentially.
It is 100% a federal charge.
And almost anybody who gets charged federally, if it happens, has a very low probability of coming out not guilty.
They very much take their pitches at the federal level. Yeah. Last year we had the gentleman that was accused of stealing government secrets, making some reports and stuff like that. Snap fast once it started. And so my guess is that if this were to come to a trial, that would be the case. But again, it hasn't. And so we're an innocent until proven guilty kind of country.
Absolutely.
And this is an innocent until proven guilty kind of podcast. But for the people that have been wondering and basically breaking down my door trying to figure out what happened, this is what I've got so far. We're going to continue to be on it. And that's the big update right now. What do you think, man? What else do we need to add to this?
I think it's a wait and see type of thing. I mean, you'll put your article out with all the information that we have thus far, and we'll just have to wait to see if the feds move forward with it or not.
Right on. Well,
but you know who is guilty?
I'm not going to say. You can't do this to me. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to even imply that I know what you're talking about.
Let's talk about Grant Thompson turncoating on Niceville.
Oy vey. All right. So Grant Thompson, former Niceville High School football coach here, has, of course, resigned a couple of months ago, and according to Sports Illustrated, has taken a role of some kind. It's kind of like a remote role, a consultant role, to help
with the enemy,
with Lincoln High School's offense. So,
yuck.
From what I can tell, the role is very much on the consulting side. It's not like calling plays or running practice or stuff like that. And yeah, he's done it for that, and then he's also doing it for Vernon High School, according to Sports Illustrated.
Okay. Well, listen, here's my opinion. Grant, there's nothing you're guilty of. You're allowed to do all this stuff. I don't think it hurts Niceville in any way. Our team and Lincoln's team are going to be completely different than they were last year. And so he's free to do what he wants. So I was just poking fun, Grant.
Yeah, but it's an interesting. I'm really fascinated by this idea of like an offensive consultant kind of thing.
Sure.
Where you're like remote, you're doing your own thing. And then I am really curious about how Lincoln is going to perform in the spring here, but Niceville also. Niceville has a spring game this Thursday,
sure,
which yours truly will be at.
Open to the public?
It's open to the public. It's at Crestview High School, and Niceville's going to play, I believe, Crestview, and I think they're going to have a scrimmage against Fort Walton Beach, JV and varsity.
Cool.
So I'll be covering all that stuff. I'll give you a full readout, hopefully by Friday. I'd like to have it by Friday for the newsletter, but I'm just one man. So
and then we can talk about it on the Paul N Saul show next week.
It's going to be interesting to see how that goes, and then it's going to be very interesting to see how Lincoln is, because Lincoln, although Niceville was able to defeat them twice last year, the Lincoln Trojans are not a roll over and die kind of team. They've always been very good, and they really brought it last year, especially in the first game against Niceville. Now they ended up Niceville ended up routing Lincoln in the second game in the playoffs.
Right.
But that first game, Tallahassee was down big. I think they were down 28 points at one point, 21 or 28, 3 or 4 touchdowns. And they were able to rally all the way back and briefly take the lead before Connor Matthews ran in a hard-charging, just like gutted out touchdown.
Connor Matthews doing Connor Matthews.
I'm telling you, man. Well, he's going to be over there at the Air Force Academy. So
running people over.
It's going to be fun to watch. And
maybe you can get a hold of Grant. Maybe he'll give you a line or two and just on what he's doing.
For the record, I have reached out to Grant to talk to him about this. He asked for me to give him a little bit of time, so I am. Hopefully we will have that story, and when you're watching this in the future, there will be an article to accompany it where I speak to Grant about what's going on, what he's doing, what he's learned from his last couple of years, and how that interim where he wasn't doing anything, not anything, but like where he wasn't actively a head football coach or a coach of some kind.
Well, it's a lot less stressful when you're game planning and looking at video from your house.
Well, not only that, but I got to think that all the stuff that surrounds high school football, look, man, teenage boys, tough.
Yeah.
Teenage boys' parents that think that they're all going to go and play at Notre Dame, tough.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll hear from Grant, but super interesting. Good for him. I'm happy for him.
Right on.
So.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this far on Paul N Saul. If you want to help get this show to a broader audience, which we hope you do, especially if you've made it this far, please leave us a like and a comment and subscribe to us and leave us a review. That helps us get this out to more people and then helps us to pay the bills. Anyway, midbaynews.com is where all of our content is, and if, of course, you want to donate to us, midbaynews.com/donate helps us a lot as well. So let's get back to the news.
Let's talk about really large houses.
Monster houses
even.
So last week, the Walton County Planning and Zoning Group Commission wanted to have a in-depth discussion about how big a house can be before they can start regulating it and worrying about whether or not there's too many people there, they're taking up too much space, if they're becoming a party house or a problem like that. All these issues were brought up.
I thought it was more for new construction, though, right?
It is for new construction, but they're always adding stuff all the time.
Sure.
And so they want to regulate that new construction and try and reduce the number of total, what they call monster houses. I think you have a little bit of a disagreement about what a monster house is, but they put that number at 5,500 square feet is when they would want to start regulating stuff and figuring out whether or not it fits with the greater plan for Walton County's growth and development.
Oh, okay. I mean, so instead, I'll just, as a developer, build 2 3,000 square foot houses on the same lot.
You've done it again, Paul. You've ruined it again.
I don't know. I think smart growth is important. I'm not sure 5,500 square feet is a monster house. It is definitely a good size house, a big house. I don't know. I'm a little conflicted on this one as someone who develops real estate. I don't develop large square footage real estate. Mine is purposely small to help with affordability. But yeah, I guess if they're just limiting it in a geographic area, right, closer to the beach, that's definitely within their right. And obviously they're trying to limit the number of people that are staying in one house for a short-term rental.
Well, you know, like all things that have gone horribly wrong and are evil in this world,
Yeah.
I blame the Florida State Legislature because the Florida State Legislature has, and I'm kidding. Not everything that you guys do is evil. I'm just, people be the way that they be. The Florida State Legislature passed a law about 10 years ago that banned the restriction of the use of like apps like VRBO and Airbnb and stuff like that. You couldn't, cities and towns could not restrict those uses and restrict the uses of the houses they're in, which meant that now you have these monster houses that don't have any regulation from cities that are closest to where this stuff is actually happening.
Right.
And so you don't have a way to narrowly tailor this so it doesn't hurt it hurts as few people as possible.
I think it's more about the location, right? Like it's not like they're going to say, oh, if you're in the northern part of the county, you can't build a 7,000 square foot house. So this definitely has to do with short-term rentals and the number of people who are renting in one house. I don't know where the right place to legislate on that is. I kind of feel like I would just let the market do what the market wants to do. But I do understand why they don't want 40 people in one house.
Absolutely. My concern with it, the way that it has gone down, is that local officials typically know what local areas need best, and this doesn't feel like something that Tallahassee can handle better than South Walton or Walton County or Niceville or wherever.
I guess I just don't like the flip side of it. Like if I've saved up money or I've been successful in my business and I want a waterfront place that's 6,000 square feet, I kind of want to be able to do that.
And I don't necessarily oppose that, but what I am saying is that the fact that we're not able to narrowly tailor this through local government, right, and have that be at the local level as opposed to at the state level, right? Because like whether or not it's a 6,000 square foot house or whether or not I can paint it bright pink or whatever, that's a decision that makes the most sense at the local level. Because if you're in Key West and you paint your house bright pink, that's like a cool cultural, like quirky thing that they do there,
or
right?
Seaside, right?
But if you do that in, I don't know, my neighborhood,
Alice Beach,
or Alice Beach, where it doesn't make as much sense, and people that are local would know that, then you kind of put yourself out because somebody in Tallahassee says you can't.
Right.
And so,
okay,
that's where I am on it.
I go both ways on it. I kind of wish the market would just let the market do its thing.
Totally hear you. Well, you want to get all the latest local news for the Emerald Coast without wading through the BS on word-of-mouth pages. I know you do, because everybody kind of quietly hates the word-of-mouth pages. And you can do that with Mid-Bay News, and our app, midbaynews.com/app, is where you can go to download it. And, of course, you can sign up for our newsletter as well, midbaynews.com/newsletter. We have all the local events. When Paul N Saul comes out, you get Paul N Saul, and you get 2 newsletters a week that are chock full of local news that matters to you. So if you want to get more involved in your community, know what's going on here, midbaynews.com/newsletter or /app to get that information. And finally, this story we both covered.
Ball fields.
Let me tell you, man.
Give us some more ball fields.
Tell us about the ball fields.
Well, I mean, Niceville is landlocked. We got the government on one side and we got the water on the other, and we have a lot of kids here. And so there's a pretty high demand on the ball fields that we currently have. Some of them are in good condition and some of them are in not so great condition.
Some of them are mud.
And some of them we're using, but we don't officially have a lease to use them.
Kind of like just ask forgiveness instead of permission.
Yes. So, yeah, we have a problem, and it came up at the town hall meeting that City Manager David Deitch hosted last week, and I think he had some pretty good responses.
Yeah, so basically he said that he is working with the Air Force right now to lock down a long-term lease on those pieces of land.
Right.
And he's working to kind of angle some other avenues to see if they can get more land out of other developers in the area to build more properties, more land, more parks, more ball fields, so that we don't overuse the ones that we have now. There was a lady that sat in front of us at this thing where she talked about her 2 daughters. You know, they want to have these fields to play on, but they're, you know, dust fills the air when they play on them because there's no grass left.
Yeah.
And she said that, not that it matters what other people think about us, but other, you know, people from other areas came in and said, like, I can't believe this is Niceville and this is how the ball fields are.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's not because we don't care. It's because we use them literally so much that they can't recover. At least that's what Dave said.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Also, like, just the fact that we don't have a long-term lease, from what my understanding on that ground. So it's like, why it's hard to spend a lot of money or justify to your constituencies that you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially millions of dollars, to upgrade these fields when you don't have a long-term lease on that property.
Yeah, so let's say, you know, our property taxes account for maybe $20 million out of our total budget. And then, you know, we get money from the state and sales tax and all this stuff. But can you imagine if we put $1 million to, like, say $10 million, whatever, pick a large number, and we astroturfed all those fields to make them last forever, and then the Air Force came to us tomorrow and said,
we got different plans.
Here's the thing, is we really wanted to build a...
Insert anything.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know...
no, I mean... David's got the right tact. He's working through that process. Then they'll you know, they're locating funds to help upgrade those fields already, but they don't really want to spend the money until they have that long-term lease. So that was one. The second one you brought up was he hinted at working with a private landowner to get some more land so that we could create ball fields. And then the third one he brought up was Rarick, which is across from Edge on your way up to Crestview. There's a baseball field there that Niceville Little League uses, but behind it there is a larger field with a track, and so he's you know, pitched an idea of maybe putting some dollars in there, and have more usable fields there as well.
And I know that they've lobbied Pat Maney in the state legislature to get more money to get all the sewage on our Benny Pritchett, this water reclamation and sewage treatment facility in Fort Walton, so that they can shut down that very old water treatment plant that the city co-owns with Valparaiso and Okaloosa County, and so they could basically take that out and put ball fields there. But the veto pen is mighty, and so we've not been able to get those appropriations. But the other interesting piece he told me, because he'll tell you all the time, he doesn't want to spend our money. He wants to use other people's money,
State
which is
money
still kind of our money, but like not the point.
Yeah.
But he talks about, like, hey, if you give me the money to do it, I will do it, right? And one of the things he suggested, I think it was kind of off the cuff, but I think it was really very clever, is getting logos painted on the fields for whoever sponsors them that year. So you could have the FP&L field or CCB field or you name the place, you put it on there, right? And I think it's going to take creative things like that in order to make the ends meet for stuff like this, because the alternative is raising taxes, right? Because to buy out all that stuff and then use eminent domain on somebody's house, I mean, we could do that, but I think that kind of runs contrary to what we believe kind of as a group here in this area.
I guess the takeaway that I would want our viewers to know is, like, the city is clearly working on this. Like, it's been heard, like, and they're working on it. It's just not something that can be done overnight.
Yeah, and that's hard because our kids are getting older every day, and you want, like, them to have all the ball fields they'd ever want right now. And that is just not a reality. The best time to fix this would have been 10 years ago, and the next best time is right now. And so
that's a great analogy.
I am rooting for them to get this done, because I would love to see my kids play on these fields for a long time to come, and their kids. And that's just going to be an investment that we're going to have to do.
Yep.
Right on. Well, coming up this week is a busy week for Mid-Bay News, as it is City Council week. So we have Niceville City Council, Valparaiso City Commission, Freeport City Council, Walton County Commission, and a host of other local government meetings. It is government meeting week here in America,
Yep.
And we will be covering all that stuff. There will be plenty of interesting stuff. Hopefully, Valparaiso City Commission will start the process to replace the Commissioner Ed Crosby, who resigned his position. We'll see how that goes. Plenty of interesting stuff going on at Niceville City Council, along with, I mean, there's never a dull moment in Walton County, so get ready for that. And, yeah, I mean, just an interesting week coming up, man.
Yeah. Everybody, thanks for watching. Hey, if you're looking for stuff to do this weekend, there's lots going on. The luau that was supposed to happen last weekend got kicked to this upcoming Saturday. And then Christ Our Redeemer in Blue Water Bay is doing their Holy Smokes barbecue
very good.
event on Sunday. So you can go have luau pig on Saturday, and then you can have all sorts of barbecue on Sunday.
Swine and not.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Am I right? Yeah, no, it's a bad weekend to be a pig. So
it's good to be us.
it's a good weekend to be us. Yeah. But yeah, so
that's all we got.
That's all we got right now, man. We got to tell them.
I got to tell them. Be nice, Niceville.
You heard the man.
See ya.